So here we are.
Jeff, how's it going?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah?
It's Super Bowl weekend coming up.
Is Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We missed
We're
a
back.
show here in New England.
We're back.
A whole few years there.
Yeah. So it's in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, we're unless you're in one of the teams that we wiped out this year, and unless you're at Buffalo, it's not so good, I suppose.
That's true.
Lots. Yeah. And what do you think? What are you most excited about for the Super Bowl? Is it the halftime? Is it the commercials? What is it? The game?
I always love the commercials, but I have to say, I don't know. In the last few years, it's landed a little bit bland for me. You know what it is? I have this nostalgic, reference in terms of like when I was watching Super Bowls, 10 years ago, where it was just chaos. Like it was crazy commercials on there, and that there tends to be less of that, and some of it I just find, I don't know, it's nothing special, I guess.
I don't know. There's this weird, like, let's be weird to be weird thing.
Yes.
I love a good weird commercial, but like they're just like stupid. And I go like, I don't understand how someone approved this at any level.
Yes.
Like the idea of spending that much money on ad space during the game, the big game, because I don't want to get pulled from posting the show online.
The big
because
game, yes.
we used the wrong phrase, as you well know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that there's this weird habit of just being weird for weird's sake, and there's no substance, or there's nothing really special about it other than like, look how odd we are. Do you know of anybody that's actually got a commercial coming up this year? Usually they've released a few by now.
Yeah, they usually do. I haven't seen any. I usually find them on like YouTube, but I haven't seen anything really pop up recently. Probably check it out tonight. It'd be probably starting to filter through the the channels at this point.
Groovy. Awesome. So we got a great show today. We've got our buddy Robert will be here. We've got a couple of fellows who live just up the road from Jeff and I in the granite state of New Hampshire, or New Hampshire, if you will. And I just wanted to pause for a moment. We lost Catherine O'Hara this week. What a bummer, man. She was awesome. And we didn't just lose her. Canada, she's really a product of Canada. And the rest of the
Second
world.
City too, right? Wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yes, was.
That stuff is just, unbelievable, groundbreaking.
Like, who the fuck's going to find Kevin now? When he's home alone, right? Oh my God! If you can't tell, I have a cold. Still working on that cold.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a cold or just someone cursed me. I kind of think maybe it might be that. So, if you've got an over-under on whether or not Peter was cursed or just got a cold, feel free to comment on that. Okay.
Right.
So today we've got a great show. Core theme we're talking about is marketing shouldn't feel like a gamble. And in fact, most people, especially in our world, Jeff, we're finding a lot of clients or a lot of companies and brands, the last thing they want to do is gamble. And that's different than taking risks. That's, gambling. So, it's you can't treat it like Vegas with better dashboards. And our guests today, they fix that customer journey gap. They do it in a variety of ways, which I'll let them speak to, between planning and real world results. So, Jeff, have you ever run across a marketing plan that sounds great in the meeting, but then it dies when it hits the real world?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because what part of the problem, we'll probably talk about this, is that it's internally thought that this is our customer. Right. And they have it all worked out. Externally, it's not the case. It's someone else. And so what happens is, you think who the customer is, but in reality, they let you know that it's not them.
We do run into that a lot. Yeah, we don't need any audience exploration or data. We've got that. Oh, where did you get it? Well, Kevin in accounting seems to feel that blah da blah da, and we've got this document that says Susan, an Android user who likes to shop at Marshalls and TJ Maxx, does most of her online stuff. It's just like people make this shit up all the time, and that's especially today critical that you're not relying on that kind of rubbish to nail down your audience, right? And
Sure.
And especially with all the tools available to everyone, it seems ridiculous that you would even bother doing that, right?
Exactly. No, exactly. It's
all right. So I see we got Renee Springer in the house. Renee, she was great in Beetlejuice. She was fabulous in Beetlejuice. We've got a LinkedIn user. I can't tell who it is just yet, but he says Jeep, funny Billy Bass ad. And Scott Fisk is in the house. Superb Owl, someone's talking about here. Scott Fisk, Rod Christensen, the whole gang. Cogs is here. Jeff, you're here. I'm here. And a whole bunch of other people seem to be filtering in as we speak. So... Right, we've got great guests today. Strap in, table trays up, everybody. Extinguish your cigarettes. I'm talking to you, Cogs. Nathan Pichette, if I'm saying it right, Pichette, and Collin Going. They're the guys behind Reticle. What is Reticle, you ask? Well, we'll tell you, and they'll tell you too. This is where paid media starts with the customer, not the channel. Nathan has spent a decade building and fixing demand engines across B2B and SaaS and retail for massive brands in 1,200 plus markets. Collin, he's no great, he's not like some fool in the corner himself. He's a relationship first marketing guy who turns real connection into momentum. They're working from New Hampshire to New York City and all across North America, to be honest with you. And I want everyone to put their hands to give a great big warm dog's howl to Collin, hello, and Nathan, hello.
Hey guys.
Guys, that's the best intro I've ever had.
Welcome.
I wish it had been better. I got a little lost in the Mucinex,
We have to talk about this though, because I need a hype man to get me ready for meetings. And
I'm your guy.
Have you record an entry so that when we come on to like a WebEx, any WebEx,
ladies and gentlemen,
like a ring announcer.
Oh hell yeah, we'll do that.
I want one of those like
I'll do that for you.
Tunnels.
If you're game, I will do it.
The tunnel. I want one of those tunnels.
That was exactly the tunnel with a cape. Like you have the headlights all warmed up, ready to go.
The funniest story I had about this was that, and it's funny, I used to do these for Disney all the time. I would do them for everything, especially if I was speaking. They'd be like, "What the fuck, dude? Can you just go on stage and talk? Do you have to have like a 7-minute lead up?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. Fuck you." So anyway, I did one for Robert originally when he first started coming on the show, and vis-a-vis our first conversation, he's like, "Dude, go wild, go crazy, do whatever you want." And then I said it to him, and he's like, "Holy shit, this is crazy! I love it." And then a minute later, he was like, "Hey, kind of makes me look insane." I was like, "Okay, well, you told me to do it."
You know what though? Thinking in a different way it can't feel insane. It really can. It can come off that way.
Right.
If you're talking about things that are different, that are not, I don't know, widely accepted or the norm. It can come off to some people like it's crazy, and really that's where the magic happens a lot of times.
It does, but you know what? The thing was and what the notes I got back from Robert, I was like, dude, totally makes sense. No worries. I could do these all damn day if I made money doing it. I was like, I'll make you another one. Let's just tone it down. Let's bring it back. And it's still, you'll see it when he comes on. It's still a fun, exciting thing. Sure. And, it just makes him look a little less, deranged to his potential clientele. Right. So, and, Collin, if you could stop interrupting, that'd be killer.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Nathan and I, we work great together because he's the talker, I'm the listener. I'll add the color commentary.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Jeff knows the feeling. Yeah.
Hey, real quick.
Jeff's nickname is Edgewise.
Like that.
Just trying to get in edgewise.
That's right.
Real quick, just as we're sitting here listening to the intro of this thing, the commercial that's going to stand out this year is the one by Pepsi. I don't know if you guys saw it. It actually ran during the AFC Championship game.
Polar bear.
The polar bear, exactly. This is driving the nerds crazy. You know, people are having conversations about this. The ad folks are having conversations about this because there was one group that tested it in a room, and instead of looking at the thing in its holistically as a complete piece, they took the opening 2 seconds, and they were evaluating kind of its impact and whether or not it was a good ad. And you know, the feedback was people thought it was a Coke ad, because if you guys haven't seen it, you will see it. I hate to be a spoiler, but I'm going to. No. We're seeing the polar bear outside of the holiday season for the first time, and it's not a Coke ad. It's in Pepsi. Okay. And there's some conflict that's introduced here. It's like built on that old Pepsi ad where it's the taste test, the side-by-side. Yep. It's a new take on that. It's really cool. I don't want to get too deep into it, but the opening is an asset, is a Coke asset, which is the polar bear. It's a Pepsi ad, and it's this. They're introducing this conflict, which is the polar bear at a blind taste test. Right, and it's the Coke and the Pepsi. So 2 of the branded assets that are in the opening shot are Coke ads. One of them is Pepsi. Is a Pepsi, right? So they did this study where they took just the first 2 seconds, and this is an incomplete piece, and they put that in front of a test group, and then they asked the test group kind of the loaded questions of, you know, what's the brand association here, and what are you getting from that, right? And if you look at it in an incomplete form and you take it out of the context in which it was designed to be delivered, it has a dramatically different impact. A lot of times what happens in marketing and advertising is we come up with these plans, and then we test out what we're doing, and we're getting data back and feedback back, and we don't take context into consideration. We don't really understand what we're trying to convey and what the purpose of the ad is. So we judge things kind of in the wrong setting. It would almost be like judging athletes across sports.
Like this too, right?
Yeah, like total blinders. It's like if you look at Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan, they're both the best at what they've done. If you put Tiger Woods in a basketball game, it's not going to compare. You compare Michael Jordan's golf game to Tiger Woods, it's not going to compare. If you take an ad outside of its intended delivery channel and you put it in the wrong context, we can make some really bad assumptions about what that's going to do for us. Right? I just want to kick it off that way because that's where my mind is.
No, I think that's a great example.
It makes perfect sense. You know, and Nathan, you've seen a lot of campaigns deployed at large scale. Where do you think they usually break down between the planning and the real world?
How much time do we have? No, it's true. Like a lot of times it does break down, and I'll try to put it into kind of real world context for everybody. I know we have a lot of marketers in the room, so this is probably relatable to all of us, whether we're in performance marketing, advertising, brand side stuff, whatever really our responsibility is. Right? We can kind of relate to this. A lot of times brands will put together these fantastic brand guides. This is who our brand is. This is who it's for. This is what it's for. This is what we mean, right? And they have this nice, clean work. And then you look at the advertising, what they actually put out, whether it's social advertising, it could be promotional advertising, the ads, the things that are there to like really, you know, amplify that message. You can't reconcile the 2 pieces of work together. There's almost like no through line that's connected to them.
Right.
And
there's something I always try to remind people that design and messaging have to come from the same mother. It's part of the same system, to be honest. So when you're talking about your messaging, your design, your messaging, your campaigns, there has to be those strong connectors between them. Otherwise, it does, like you said, just falls flat.
Peter refers to the golden thread a lot. You know, it's because it has to be connected. Like you have one piece of the puzzle, whether it's website, advertising, social, packaging, any piece that's out of line, let's say, it just disturbs the whole cycle.
Right. Also, Jeff, I got that because I did an apprenticeship for Rumpelstiltskin way back. So that's where that came from. Collin, you're known mostly for killing a man in Reno just to watch him die. Is that correct? No? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Wrong sheet. You're actually known for partnerships that last quite a bit. What do most agencies get wrong about the client relationship?
I mean, it comes down to emotional intelligence and being genuine, and not being genuine for the sake of getting the deal. It's taking a real interest. And I always find, one of the things that you can do is, no matter who you're talking to, where they're from, where they stand on certain things, like you can usually find one thing in common with them, whether it's an interest, whatever it might be, and just kind of latch onto that and plant that seed. And I think a lot of people just try to move too fast.
Do you think that there's a line, though, or where do you see the line or draw the line between, being open and genuine with your clients and then crossing over into that friendship zone where sometimes you may say something that they go, whoa, you're both wearing friend hats and you've got your friendship rings on, and then all of a sudden you say something and they're like, who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a line. Professional always, but as far as the line goes, keep it professional, but don't be afraid to also open up a little bit.
Yeah. I think there is there's reading the room. We've all made mistakes. I know I've made mine, and I'll make more. For both of you,
it's different. Every situation's different. Like I've had clients that, you get to know them over the years, and you get to a certain point where you're like, okay, I can say this with this person. But it's like any relationship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Real quick on that, guys, because this is interesting, because this is important. If a brand's bringing us in, they're bringing us in for a reason. They're looking for expertise. We're able to, from the outside, kind of work around some internal politics at times. We're allowed to say things that are maybe a little bit controversial that they couldn't say in their manager meeting, right? Because there's different agendas in the room. And when we talk about having that through line, that golden through line that connects, let's say, the brand work to the advertising work, there has to be a voice in the room that can guide that conversation back to what the business needs, but also insert the customer back into the room, right? So I think it's really important that when we're talking about partnerships like this, is that we come in and we position ourselves as the expert. We do it on their behalf, but it allows us to ask hard questions from the beginning. We have to be really open and honest, because that's what they're begging for us to bring. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with agencies or internal teams. And, the biggest gripe that I have, or I hear from the internal teams, is, listen, we hired this group to run our media, and we were looking for ideas, and all they're doing is execution. Like nobody's owning the idea. They're looking for them for expertise, and nobody's willing to speak up. I worked with one of the best agencies. The award-winning, Adweek came out and gave them some huge award recently. Probably gives a Q. They were excellent at execution. I mean, the people were awesome to work with. They responded well. They technically their expertise was unmatched. It was awesome to work with these guys. I loved working with them. Where they fell flat, though, is that internally they didn't have anyone who could go in with the client and sell the idea.
Right.
They couldn't get everyone on the same page. So they would present something as a nice to have and not mission critical to make it work. And because of that, a lot of times the assets that were being run, they were getting handed off, right? Because that's really what was happening. You're coordinating multiple agencies to deliver this campaign. Somebody's taking care of the creative, another agency's doing the execution side of it and the media buying. You have a brand team that's trying to coordinate the whole thing, and nobody was willing to take the lead. So that excellent media buying team, right, was running ads that really weren't very effective because it wasn't connected. And as partners for these brands, it's our job as agencies. You guys are doing the same thing. It's your job sometimes to challenge and say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but let's take a different approach with this. And this is why.
Yeah.
And for us,
there's always got to be this is why. But in that world too, and Jeff and I have both run into this as well. Sometimes as an agency, we've got and our agency in particular, we're super idea based. We really like to explore different options and angles and precipitous angles and that sort of a thing. But sometimes you pitch a concept and you bring it to full circle, and everyone on the other end, at the client's end, is like, yeah, okay. I'm going to bring it to the president on Friday. And then they come back on Monday and they're like, he hated it. And I'm like, what the fuck did you say? Like,
what is that wah, wah.
What did you do? Like, how did we go from love it, and we know it's a great idea, it's totally going to work, and then and I don't mean to hang it on somebody else, but I go, you didn't have the same passion and energy that we presented it with.
Yeah,
there's an authority in the pitch though when you come with the customer as the lead, because what ends up happening in those situations is you'll pass off the idea, you'll make the pitch, you'll pass off the plan, they'll try to get executive sign off on it, and then the executive will go, this is a really neat idea, but I saw so and so brand doing this, I want that. You guys ever hear that running into that?
Oh my head.
All the time, right?
We really don't do it anymore. Whereas if it's something that's, if there's something that's kind of nuanced or way out there, right on the edges of the solar system, it's not something that we share until we're guaranteed that we're going to be able to bring this all the way home, because it's really fruitless to go through all of that and then just have someone, half-ass it, intentionally or not intentionally, and then you get then you're nowhere, and then you're back to, well, why don't we just do what they did? We worked with someone for quite some time who did a lot of, we love this, but we saw what our competitors were doing, and we were thinking that maybe we should do that too.
Right.
Frankly, it's not working for them either.
Well, it's safe though, and I don't. We can't ignore who our customer is. So when we're thinking about customer research, right? Let's say you're a B2B company, and I did some prep work on this because I know the numbers, but I wanted to have them in front of everybody, and it plays really well into this too because we're talking about how we work with our customers. But there's a short list that most B2B buyers come to the table with. Let's say you're selling a SaaS product, right? Well, your customer already has 3 brands in mind. The data shows that 90% of the purchases are made by those 3 brands in mind. Usually they're the ones that are safe. They're not the ones that are groundbreaking or revolutionary. They're the ones that are familiar and are defensible, because they have their career to worry about. There's internal things that they've got to handle and the responsibilities that they have. So if you're not one of those 3 brands that comes to mind and is a safe option, you're not making the list. Every other brand is fighting over the 10% scraps that are left over of those buyers.
Yes.
I disagree.
Go ahead.
Only in the sense that, if you want to make it onto the list by playing it safe like everybody else is doing, you're still not going to get on the list.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but that becomes our challenge, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to get in the mind of the consumer. We have to understand how purchases are made, what our environment that we're playing in. To give you an idea, I looked at G2 because I was looking at these numbers. I said, okay, what does that really translate into? And G2 is a great way to get like a broad overview of a category. So I looked at it, and this is some interesting numbers. And a lot of us have worked with these. Everybody watching this right now has probably bought or worked with one of these tools, right? Project management software. There are 562 listings on G2. If there are 3 brands that are in the top, that means that there are a heck of a lot of brands that are fighting to get into that. You can't break through that by looking like everybody else. Your ads cannot look like everybody else's. It's way too noisy. Go to the next one, marketing automation. 433 different options on G2 right now. And we're getting more of them daily as it's easier to develop some of these tools. But we're talking about the big 3, and most of us can probably name those.
Right.
If I'm buying something and I'm taking it to an executive sponsor or somebody to sign off on it, I want to make sure that I'm not putting my neck on the line. Right. So how do we make it safe, and how do we make it defensible, and how do we get onto that list where we can confidently pitch as a brand, we're the best option for you to do this. So creativity is huge, and we cannot look like what that other brand did. when we're looking at ads, we're looking really closely at how do we separate ourselves and what does the decision-making process look like?
Yeah, no, that's true. And then there's the, for us, I think we come into this scenario as looking at it and going, a fancy ad, a fancy logo, blah, 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 before we go and start throwing more content at the problem. Let's go back and see, is the story, is your brand, I don't mean your about page, I mean, is your brand telling its story in a clear, compelling fashion that's unique to you? Not just more jargon buzzword, but unique to you. Is it clear? Does it compel? And is it enough to start to build the trust? So if you can lock that story into the signals, which is where we're going with the advertising and the design work and the messaging, the signals, if you can lock the story to the signals, then you've got an opportunity to actually become, out of those, let's say 500 choices and 3 are premium, you've got an opportunity not only to become an alternative, but to become a faster chosen option, because people you have earned their trust, you've built it, and you have a clear, crystal clear sort of value DNA attached to it. And then that's where the advertising we're talking about comes in as like on fire. Fish in a barrel. So I think we're all in agreement in that area. We've hit that moment in time where we got to bring our special guest in before we lose him altogether.
I know.
Just want to make sure that we are on point with that. And there's a whole bunch more coming right up. So I think for those of you who've been here before, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you know.
Without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go.
In other news, Robert Cogan.
Robert Cogan.
Cogan has succeeded.
Cogan has just returned.
Welcome to Making Things Happen with Robert Cogan.
Where is he? There he is.
Oh, there. Oh.
Well, it's gotten crowded in here today.
Shoosh.
Got to fight for elbow space. Robert, welcome to the program, if you will. And Robert, meet Nathan and Collin of Reticle, although we were talking just before you guys. Just a bit of house cleaning. All 3 of you made a bit of a fucking mess in the green room. So
In the green, I know.
there'll be a chargeback on that.
All those bullseye wrappers on
all
the
those,
floor and everything.
all that stuff lying around in there. And whoever thought it was funny to like put whipped cream all over the TV, not cool. Not cool. That thing's expensive. So hey, welcome, man.
Well, starting from the top, guys. Obviously, I can't jump through the laptop, but the first intro that Peter created, it ended with a wheelchair, an empty wheelchair, down the end of a dark hall. I loved it. My sister, though, she thought it was a little much. So it was really her that told me to tone it down a little bit. And on your opening topic there, Nathan, my translation for what you described as being in the room and being able to put like corporate HR issues, not so much off the table, they're still on the table, but you guys come in as a consultant. It reminds me of what I did with real estate, because after a few years of doing real estate, I just told people I'm really a therapist, because you got to size up the team. Usually it's a couple if it's residential. Otherwise, it's a group of know-it-alls who are looking for their next commercial development, and they all know everything. And you really go in there and just like the first thing you do is you size up like what the politics are. And then you have the opportunity to not worry about what number 3 thinks about number 1's attitude and how much they like number 5's ideas better than number 3 because they're buddies with their wife. And you just come in there and present empirical data. It's almost like a brand counselor.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny, that empirical data, though, it's our job to make sure that it's being interpreted correctly. I think that's one of the things that, Peter talked about, the amount of tools we have, kind of not really giving us an excuse to get this wrong, right, with our audiences. But it still takes somebody with kind of a steady hand to determine, okay, what does this data mean? What does it mean to us? How do we use it, right? And that's where we can add a tremendous amount of value.
And one of the things I wanted to do a little bit of an intervention on the podcast, and let Jeff and Collin introduce themselves to the audience, considering I think we've heard about 9 to 12 words. But and I'm always conscious of that because I can go for about 40,000 words in a row without stopping. But one thing, the content is so hard to manage, and then the time goes. But when we talked before the podcast, I gave you guys an example of one of the companies I'm working with in the Canadian market to make sure we cover that connection with with the consumers, using a little bit of extra nudge with the social media ambassador program I'm looking at. But what would be the step-by-step process? For example, if I said, I'm looking at taking Balloon sparkling water into the Southeast Michigan market and then down to the Ohio and beyond, or another Canadian brand, what would be, if we were sort of at the proverbial trade show or at a business event, what do you guys do? Like, what would be the 5 steps that you would describe to us?
So I love that. I love that because we actually do have a process. Yeah, we do have a process. We call it growth sequencing. So our process is designed to take brands through this. First of all, it's kind of like self-awareness of where they're at and what they need. So one of the things that we do before we do anything else is we try to get them to understand what their wins look like and the sequencing the wins. You know, brands will come to us a lot of times and they'll have like this big, huge goal in mind. And getting to that end goal is not a one-step process. You can't just go magically turn on the advertising channels and all of a sudden you're there, right? You have to take it step by step. So the first thing we would have to do is we would have to take a look at the brand. What stepping stones or what little wins do we have to get you to along the way? Then the next thing we're doing is we're taking you through this process. We're actually kind of uncovering what your market looks like. And this is huge. A lot of times we resort back to those nice little brand packages that Jeff was talking about in the intro, where it's like, you know, this is our client and they shop at Target and they prefer this and this and they have an Android. Well, yeah, I'm not going to read that. What we're really focusing on is what does this brand mean to them? What are their alternatives? What are the conversations that they're having digitally about this brand? What are their purchase patterns for these types of brands? When are they willing to make a change? You know, we don't really consider our consumers' real behavior a lot of times when we're building advertising campaigns or go-to-market plans. There are points where they're more willing to try new things. A lot of times, though, we're falling back on cognitive biases that allow us to simplify our decision making. And if I've always bought something, it's going to take you like something earth-shattering for me to try something else, right? So how do we break through that noise? So we find out what the wins are, we find out what the environment is, what the consumer's purchase habits are, and then we can map out a strategy on how do we best get you to those wins, right? That's the next part. It's now how do we build this execution plan? And the strategy can be very, very simple. And the strategy is a longer term strategy. A lot of times we confuse strategy and tactics. You'll hear those used interchangeably, or they'll talk about strategy for one channel. It's like, well, how does that play with the rest of the stuff? And oftentimes it doesn't. So we're helping brands come up with a media plan and strategy that's designed to help them get to those wins based on the market and the game that they're playing. Once we have that in place in this situation, right, now we have to talk tactics. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty and the execution. A lot of times brands will have decent strategy. They'll have a decent idea of what their market is. They know what their wins need to be, but execution becomes a real problem.
So why don't we use an example? Perhaps the feedback is coming in there. Somebody got their radio on.
It's almost good I can't see comments. I'm you know.
So the example that comes to mind, we always have to say brands we won't mention, but I work directly with Melting Forest. It's in the adaptogenic nootropic functional soda, functional sparkling beverage category. Very crowded in the US. We have a little more white space in Canada. So it's not as hard to find our audience because there's a hungry audience for BFY health and wellness in Canada. And the adaptogenic, I don't call it a trend, I call it a regiment. Prebiotic, probiotic soda, I call a trend. But take Melting Forest. It's adaptogenic. It's got a funky label design. What would be a few examples of the data that you would gather? Because I get what we have to determine in that hypothetical, which is going to be a reality situation. Sean and David are well on their way in the US with understanding their data, understanding their market, and looking at those options that you're referring to make the best tactical decision to accommodate the strategy. But in Canada, we have a different market. There's a lot of similarities. But say we were talking to you about gathering data for a functional sparkling beverage brand. What would be some of the data points, and then what would be some of the choices we'd make? And I just want the audience to sort of get a feel, and I want to get a feel too, because like everything's a trade show. How would we go about a discussion? I still want to hear from Collin, though, because every minute that goes by that Collin's
taking my notes, just like I would on the trade show.
So that's a great question. The first thing that I need to know, and that every marketer should be asking themselves when they're thinking about bringing a product to market, is how it's going to be purchased. What's your distribution model look like? Because it can vary. If there's a direct-to-consumer brand, we're going to take the strategy is going to be different than if we're trying to get shelf space, right? So understanding how consumers are going to be able to purchase the product is going to allow me to take a look at consumer behavior around the purchase. Until we have kind of a little bit of an idea on what that looks like, or maybe it could be open. You could be open to suggestions on this, right? But understanding how the product is actually getting in the hands of the consumer at purchase, because that's really what we're looking at. We can do a great job of trying to get awareness around a brand, but then if I can't find it, or I don't know where to buy it, or how to buy it, or like what is it? What good is it, right? So we'll start with the end, because that's a win. How do we get that micro win of that purchase and trying a new product in the space?
The wry smile on my face is because you just hit a bullseye. The boys up there we're all over the food service channel. We're all romantically attached to everything's retail. Everything's retail. Well, you just opened up the meeting with, hey, are you retail? Are you D2C? Are you food service? Are you alt retail, health clubs and office commissary and stuff like that? That was a great opener, because I would say that's worth a podcast. The boys had a podcast 2 weeks ago on it, and there'll be more to come. Don't you think that was a good one, Jeff? I pulled out there.
Absolutely, I like that.
So nice one, Nathan. Yeah, you got to really understand your channel first, and a lot of people are screwed up with retail right away.
If any of us can go back to our undergrad studies, if you had a marketing degree, there's 4 P's in the model for a reason, right? It's not advertising. It's not brand and advertising. Is marketing. We have to think about product, place. This all promotion. It all has its place, and until we figure that out, it's really difficult for us to advertise for a product if we don't know what distribution looks like. It's an incomplete model.
So Reticle will give me what? The data, we'll get that question answered. Then you guys gather relevant data that clarifies where the best return on ad spend.
It won't just be return on ad spend. We'll take a look at how consumers are purchasing competitors' brands. Where have we seen fast growth in the category?
So you're going to give us a bag of intelligence that I can throw over to my favorite 2 marketing experts, and they can say, all right, we had our meeting with Nathan and Collin. We had our meeting with you and your crazy psychos. And now we're going to come up with a proposal that has 2 or 3 options at every step. Tell us what you think, and we'll tell you you're wrong, and we're smarter, and then we'll go do it.
Yeah, that's so critical. Honestly, I can't tell you how many times we've gone into something where we just want this, and it's like, yeah, but we don't have anything to base that on. We have nothing to build towards. We need to know who, where, why. And that can't just be, as I said earlier, it can't be these made up profiles that people come up with. It has to be like actual data points that we understand and know. And that's why I think what you guys do, Collin and Nathan, is so critical, especially in our journey, because if that's not done prior to engaging us, if you don't have that information, it makes it a lot harder for us to do our job, but B, it can become much more expensive, because not only will an agency have to maybe take several cracks at it to get it right, but also you're going to have to now bring in somebody else like Reticle to go like, guys, just forget everything you think you know. These guys are going to tell you, all of us, what the facts are, what the truth is.
Yeah, and in the end, I would just add too is that you're placing blame on the creative. It's not the creative's fault.
No, it's always the same story where you go, look, if the marketing didn't work, you don't go back and yell at the sales team. You yell at the marketing. If sales aren't happening, you might want to go talk to the sales team. But both of those entities need to, and I know a lot of people go, the two shall never meet. That's bullshit. If the two of those entities can't come together or work together, you're going in circle. You're never going to get there.
Yeah, I want to channel. Go ahead. Quick, I want to focus on its head, because I think this is really an important distinction for marketers. As marketers, we like to think that we represent the brands in our custom, in the lives of our customers, and in reality, a big part of our job is representing the customer in the lives of our brand. Right? Yes. That's really what it comes down to. We're the bridge between the brand and the consumer. We're kind of a control group that sits there. So we shouldn't have campaigns that fall in the face, because we should have already done the work to figure out what the customer needs from us. And we should be able to share that with the brand and have a position within the brand and the hierarchy and decision makers where we're customer focused and customer centric. So that the brand is responsive to the needs of the customer. We're not trying to fit that square peg into the proverbial round hole because it's what we are, and we haven't considered who's buying it or how they're using it.
It's such a great approach, man. And it dovetails to what we try to do is going, when we work with a brand, the brand's role or job is not to be the hero of the day and to solve the role of the brand, the product, the whatever the widget is to allow the consumer to solve their own challenge. Your job as a product or as a brand is to be a part of that process and allow the consumers to solve their own challenges. You're part of the process. You're the mentor to, and I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it again. The product or the brand or the service, your job is to play the role of Jiminy Cricket and to help Pinocchio get to where he needs to go safely, successfully. But if you want to play hero, we're not going to stop you, but you're not going to win. Right? And that's...
Yeah, I 100% agree. The interesting thing, though, for the marketer, kind of in our position in this, is that we are like I said, we're the bridge between it. So we're almost like the Jiminy Cricket on both shoulders.
Yes.
And that's the distinction point there. I don't know that we own that role well enough, because we're the ones chirping in the ears of the consumer. We're also the ones chirping in the ear of the decision makers and the other groups within the brand.
Yes,
right. And I think that's the fun part. And it really is a cool job. I mean, if you think about it, there's a ton of responsibility. It's incredibly important. Getting it right is transformative, both in both cases to both of our little. As we're being the guide, it can help the customer and it can help the brand. And it's just an important place. But getting it right, you can tell when a brand gets it right, and you can tell when a brand gets it wrong. There's just something about it that you look and it looks disconnected. We like to play this game, right? This is going a little off topic, but it's kind of fun. And it kind of plays into this. I like to look at the hero section of a website. And I like to take the logo off of it and then try to guess what kind of brand, the brand does.
That's a great idea.
Love it.
It's almost like there's so much kind of like slop on some of these things. They all sound the exact same. It's like, is this a restaurant or is this a SaaS product?
Right.
That's such a good. I encourage everybody that's on here or watching. moving forward here. Go to your own website, take a look at
Yes.
it, ignore your own logo. I hate to do it to ours because I know how I'm going to feel when I'm done. But that's such a great way to look at it. Can you look at the website and just look at the hero image or text on there? Can you tell what it is that this site is for? What is it? What is it?
Why are you for?
Why are you?
Why?
Exactly.
Why,
Yeah.
really, like, why are you there?
That's the big question. And a lot of us do that. And I'm sure we're guilty too of saying, this is what I do. It's not what you do. It's who you do it, why you do it. That's the part when someone goes to the website and says, I need to know if this is for me. They don't want to hear your life story. They want to know if you're for me. If I'm in the right place, I should be able to know that at that first visit, at that first hero image site.
Go ahead. I was just saying the same thing happens in advertising. So you get those same type of like copy mistakes in advertising. You're like, well, why is nobody paying attention? It's like, because you're not talking to anybody.
Right.
You're just regurgitating or reading the laundry list of things that someone way up the chain decided has to be in the spot. I mean, I when I was doing radio, I remember how many people would come back and be like, it's a 30-second spot, and we've got, 77 seconds worth of text to put in it. We're going to have to lose something. And then you go down to it and you get back down to that 30 seconds and they go, that's great. But you know what we want? We want our phone number. We want our URL. Don't forget the www because,
QR code too.
We get there. We need our address. I remember one in particular that was like located in San Antonio, Texas. Like there's another San Antonio, and plus the ad was only running in Texas, for God's sakes. San Antonio, Texas on the 410 loop, exit 7 at 312 Serendipity Highway. And I was like, dude, who do you fucking think is going to get all this information and know what to do with it? They're going to drive into a pole, basically, by the time if they're trying to write it down. Hey, before we have to move on to the trivia question, I ask you both rapid fire question, couple of quick ones here. What is misunderstood about TikTok for small business, if anything?
That is doable.
Yeah.
Video is scary for small business. Small business operates on a different wavelength, and they think that they have to have something important to say or that they're going to be judged for. And TikTok is not that kind of platform.
Right.
The more authentic and the cleaner it looks, the worse it is.
That's right.
Exactly.
So
we've
TikTok is LinkedIn is a spot you want somebody copy, proofreading the copy. TikTok is a spot you can just get real and show like those little glimpses of the day or what you do, and it's just a different platform. So they think they think it has to be clean, and it doesn't. In fact, it's worse if it's clean.
Yeah, and we had a client once, guys, that wanted to segue over to TikTok, or at least integrate TikTok into their portfolio of advertising, boring advertisements. And I was like, you're not a TikTok brand. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, your audience isn't really a digital audience. Your audience, in fact, oddly enough, print ads locally, regionally do much more for your brand than your social media ads do. And when you think about, when I think about how many layers of, lack of a better word, we'll say bullshit, we have to go through to get an approval on one thing, you're never going to see the light of day on TikTok. By the time you're done overthinking this, it's over. TikTok will be gone. So, Collin, what about you? What do you think actually, when does, or both of you, LinkedIn, when does it make more sense and when is it just a money pit? I don't do I don't see a lot of companies that I know of doing advertising on LinkedIn. What do you guys think?
Nathan has a LinkedIn soapbox, so I'll let him take it. He's jumping.
So, guys, with the media side of it, we're talking about advertising.
Yes.
There's a place for LinkedIn advertising, but I tend to use LinkedIn advertising as retargeting.
Okay.
One of two things: either it's if I'm thinking about performance marketing, it really is about retargeting behaviors and signals that I've captured somewhere else, either on my website, high intent traffic from my website, and then I'm using those signals and then targeting ads or if there's an ABM play where I'm trying to warm up an audience, I want to make sure though that I have something that's actually valuable to them that I'm promoting. If it's for like demand generation purposes, if it's brand awareness purposes, I'm trying to make sure that I'm avoiding everything that has to do with demand generation. Make it a true introduction to the brand and the problems you solve. But it has to, that type of advertising on that platform has to be around the conversations that your ideal customer is having on the platform. If I'm trying to sell into, use real estate, Robert, earlier as an example. If I'm trying to sell a tool to the real estate market, I'm going to start talking about the challenges that real estate agents have keeping track of data or leveraging their client lists or reconnecting with people. So I'm going to try to build a content strategy around what I know are their problems, and I'm going to boost that content. When it comes to demand generation, I'm going to have a completely separate set of ads, and it's going to be targeted towards people who have already engaged with my content. I think LinkedIn is really good if it's pointed. If you don't have a target in mind that you know is actively considering, it's going to be a really expensive platform. You can introduce yourself a lot cheaper on other platforms. And we also make the mistake of like LinkedIn is like, this is for my professional self, and then Facebook or Instagram or TikTok is for my fun self.
Right.
We don't have a distinction between the two. We don't.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't. So like go to your audience and be responsive to what's going on in their lives, and then build from there. Like,
fish where the fish are.
Yeah.
So speaking of fun selves, hey Collin, it seems like you're the father of two boys. Which one do you love more? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
What's the weirdest question? And I don't know how old your kids are. I know, right? Shit, I was going to show them.
There's a whole other layer
was
to
on this
that.
weird podcast live, and then the host said something really fucked up. No, my question is, how old are they, if you don't mind me asking first?
9 and 1.5.
Oh wow.
Okay, so the 1.5-year-old he probably still sees ghosts and talks. I don't know if he's talking.
Fearless though. He's nuts.
Yeah.
Right.
So the 9-year-old, what's the weirdest question he's asked you so far that we can talk about here?
Right.
Whew, that is tough because he's definitely at the question age.
How about weirdest question / opinion?
Oh, opinions are good at that age, 9.
I gotta think about
renders the first opinion. It's a memorable event.
I have to think about that.
All right, you keep thinking.
Also,
how
like, what can I share?
That isn't like too crazy, right?
You want me to come back to you?
The kids say the darndest things thing is real.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pops into their head and comes out, and
Yeah.
a lot of times it is funny in ways that they don't realize. But
Yeah.
I can't really
Strange
pinpoint.
little beings, aren't they?
They really are. The way
know?
they consume information and stuff and process it is so different.
And that 1.5-year-old, he's like, super fresh to planet Earth. So at that age, I think it's wise to ask him repeatedly at different times, how are you enjoying planet Earth so far, friend?
Right, stuff like that.
Just soften him up for later in life when he's really gets going. At least he'll know. It's like being polite to AI, in case things go sideways. You want to really have a good relationship there. Nathan, you spend 40 plus days a year skiing, which is pretty exciting. Ever met anybody on the slopes of anybody infamous or famous that you could be like, oh my God, I ran into so-and-so and I skied down the mountain with them?
I can't tell you exactly who it is, but I ran into the CEO of a major footwear company, one that everybody and we ended up just making fast friends and skiing around the rest of the day. And it was hilarious because it was actually when we were in the process of founding Reticle, and we had some really good conversations on the slopes that you'd never imagine. And it's because we
didn't have any conversations in the slopes.
Well, on
What?
the chair.
But you got to ride the chairlift.
Oh yeah, on the chair. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
chairlift.
You like going to a trade show together. That's what it's like.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, exactly.
so
I wasn't
Nathan-
like going down the slopes. Hey, what do you think of decisions at the executive level?
Nathan, when you were getting ready to go on the chairlift, did you just say, "Let's do it"?
They usually like group you up, so it was more random.
Mm-hmm.
Did
And
you
then
say
it's like,
"just
wow, I
do
like
it"
this
or
guy.
did you
Yeah,
say
he-
"let's do it"?
Yeah.
I don't
Hey,
know.
guys, I went skiing today already.
I got you, Jeff.
Did you? God love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear what's going on over there. You
So
went skiing today already?
So where do you ski, Nathan? What's your home hill?
So we live right near Mount Sunapee.
Mm.
So we're just a few minutes. So 15 minutes to the door to Mount Sunapee. So I'll sneak off between meetings in the middle of the day and take a couple hours.
Yeah. Sunapee's the third highest peak on planet Earth, by the way.
Is
It's
it really?
No.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I was going to ask, what's the vertical?
I don't know. It's more of a hill than it is a mountain.
Okay, so it's a regional hill. It's not. Like,
I've been banned
Southern New
from
Hampshire.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's-
ski. And
So-
it's mostly because I'm terrified.
Yeah. Well, that and insurance and my body at this point in life, I just don't bend like I used to. So
Mhm.
I
It's the
shovel a
void.
lot and I snow
Yeah.
blow a lot.
It's the
Um,
void underneath the tree. When you hit
Yeah.
the tree and then you go into that void that's there, it's an empty
Jeff, we don't have
space.
enough snow here in New Hampshire.
And then
for
nobody
you to
finds
qualify
you.
too well.
They send-
Nathan, Jeff was
They're like,
told a
"Where's
story
Jeff?"
about skiing in Europe when he was a
Where's-
child and heard about
Exactly.
the okay, they're not there. You don't have crevasses in the Appalachians there, Jeff. Okay.
No. Listen, you guys are welcome to join me anytime you'd like. We'll take you
Thank
out
you,
there.
sir.
And we'll get you
I
started.
will join you, but I will see you in the lodge
in the lodge.
for a
It's a
little
lovely
after.
place to spend time.
All right.
Guys, trivia question. Trivia
We've
question.
got a big trivia thing we've got to do right
It's
now.
actually
before
not a
we run out
trivia
of time.
question.
It's
Is it?
what?
It's not a trivia question, actually.
Well, it isn't. It's
Yeah.
it's not, nor is it trivial, and you guys will apprapprate this because you're
Oh.
New Englanders.
Right.
Robert's going to hate it because he's just riddled with hate. No, because he hates dynasties. And so, Jeff, why don't you lay out the scenario for
All right.
some people that are left here? I see Dan Roth is here. He should
Yes.
be good to go on this. David Lee Roth's younger
Rod's
brother. And
Yeah.
yep.
Wow.
And,
I picked that up, Peter. This is going to be a question about something I don't even want to think about.
I
No,
know, I know.
but here's the thing: the answer to this question can't be made today.
Yeah,
Like,
you're going to have
that's
to.
the tricky.
We'll
that's
announce the
tricky
winner
part.
on next week's show.
Yeah, it's next week. But here's the thing: you have to put the answer in the comments. Okay.
Okay, go, Jeff. Go.
All right. So
Closest one wins.
Who will win the Super Bowl on Sunday, and what will the scores be? And you have to put the answer in, obviously, before Sunday.
And I only cover the prize if the New England Patriots get the karma they deserve and have their ass kicked by
You
45.
can put any team you want in there. That's
I
not
love it.
telling you
I
what
love
to
it.
choose.
All right. So we've got a few more minutes left while people are like, I don't know if I understand the question. Who are the what?
Oh,
But it's American football.
that's right.
And
yeah.
And it's the New England Patriots versus the hey, let's throw it from the 1 yard line when we've got the greatest rusher of the decade on our team,
Right?
Seahawks. How are you guys feeling about the game? You watching? You what are you eating? Who's cooking what?
Yeah. Is there
Yeah, definitely
wings?
watching, definitely cooking. I usually lean towards all sorts of dips.
Oh, yeah,
Dips.
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, what are you laughing about,
Colin's a
Robert?
Giants fan, so
Yeah.
he's gracious enough to kind of get on the Pats bandwagon.
Okay.
Right
And
now.
I can only do that because we're 2-0 in the Super Bowl against you. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you guys,
Giants
you
fan,
guys,
you're being
you got some
generous.
problems. How about you,
Giants
Nathan?
So first, Pats 24-21.
Okay.
They're going to score more points than I think some expect. I love to cook. It's like one of my favorite things, but I'm so emotionally involved in this game. I'm going to be in no mood to do anything. So we're doing pizzas.
That's a good idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's always good. Pizza's always good.
Jeff,
Umami.
what are you whipping up?
I'm most likely going to do wings because that's just like that's something like I always need to have in a football in general.
Shake it up a little bit. Do
a charcuterie board, of
have
course.
you ever done
but-
seagull wings?
No, never
board,
did
of
seagull.
course.
You know,
They
I
have the
like what Collin said
consistency of
about
yogurt.
focusing on dips. Yeah, 7-layer dips, avocado.
Oh, those are good.
Stuff,
Yep.
cheese grated, lots of mayo-y stuff. Yeah, good dips. And, of course, the usual bagel lox and cream cheese spread.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
nice.
from Bagel World, right?
Absolutely. Now,
Right.
Nathan, I heard you say something about you're invested in this game. You said you're a
Yeah,
Giants
I was
fan.
a gambler. I no, I've been a Patriots, lifelong Patriots fan. I'm, born and raised in Southern New Hampshire. I've got family members that were Patriot cheerleaders, friends with season tickets. I mean, this for
Well,
us.
I have a church party going out to Jeff's house, so I'll send it to your house after because I'm still looking for that Rams Super Bowl that you guys had to videotape because you couldn't beat us. That's the video.
How many Patriots did you say there?
Yeah, the what was it?
It was back to 2002.
The Toronto
2000.
Sentinels. Was that the team you're talking about?
I'm talking
Yeah.
about, Tom Brady going up 2 touchdowns, down 14-point dog in the first 10 minutes of the game. That was normal.
Yeah, it's actually there's some real science behind the fact that Tom Brady was the one out there filming it and videotaping it himself
Yes.
personally. No, I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
Good luck. I like you guys like Montreal Canadiens fans, so full
Right.
offense and disrespect. And yeah, enjoy the weekend again.
We will.
Oh, yes.
Hey, before we all go, Nathan, Collin, anything you want to leave our audience with? And for those of you who are here and those of you who are watching in the future, from your flying car or whatever the hell it is, make sure you connect with these guys because they're stellar. They're stellar people and they do great work. So find us
Absolutely.
all, connect. Anything you want to leave our people with today?
Go Pats and definitely that Connect thing. If you have questions or just want to talk, we'd love to chat with you.
Awesome.
So connect with us. We're pretty available.
Awesome.
Looking forward to meeting you guys.
I'll put your
This
link.
was really fun. I hope you guys liked it.
Comments.
Yeah. No, I'll just say appreciate you guys having us on, and appreciate everyone for taking the time out of their day to tune in and listen to, mostly Nathan, but a little bit of me.
Well, as I always say, this is 59 minutes that none of you are going to get back. We sincerely apologize. But thanks for coming anyways. All right, guys. Everybody have a great rest of day. It's Thursday. It's almost Friday. Couldn't come soon enough for me. And we'll talk to you all soon, okay? Cheers, everybody.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, is it over? It's not over yet until it's